In most places, the law is something you think about when you're driving or maybe doing your taxes. But in North Korea, the law follows you absolutely everywhere. It dictates your haircut, what you're allowed to hang on your wall, and even how you're supposed to grieve. The state's control is total, and the punishment for stepping out of line, well, that can follow your family for generations. So let's just start with maybe the most shocking concept of all. It's called the 3 generations of punishment rule. Now, while it's not a formal law written in a book, it is a powerful internal policy. If you commit a serious political crime, it's not just you who pays the price. Your children and even your grandchildren can be born and raised inside a prison camp for a crime they had nothing to do with. It's the ultimate threat to ensure absolute, unquestioning obedience. So, how exactly does the state enforce that kind of obedience in daily life? Well, it starts right inside your own home. Let's dive into our first section, mandatory state devotion, where showing reverence for the leaders isn't just encouraged, it's the law. Okay, so check this out. Every single home in North Korea is legally required to display portraits of the Kim family, but the rules are unbelievably specific. They have to hang on the most prominent wall, be perfectly centered, and you can't have any other decorations around them. Homes are regularly inspected, and if those portraits aren't perfectly clean, the consequences can be, well, pretty severe. And this devotion is expected to come before everything else. I mean, everything. In an emergency, like a house fire or a flood, the law requires you to save the portraits first, before your possessions, before your pets, even before your family. As this quote from our source material shows, state media has actually praised parents for saving the portraits instead of their own children. It's just staggering. And this idea of loyalty, it's literally baked into the very fabric of their society through a system called Songbun. Right from birth, your family's political history, going back generations, sorts you into a specific class. And that one classification will determine your entire life, your access to education, the kind of job you can get, where you're allowed to live, and even how much food you're allocated. And disloyalty can be defined by the absolute smallest things. Get this. In 2016, Vice Premier Kim Young-jin was executed by a firing squad. His crime wasn't spying or trying to start a rebellion. No. His reported crime was having bad posture and dozing off during a meeting with Kim Jong-un. For that, he was labeled a traitor and killed. So that's how they control public displays of loyalty. But the control goes so much deeper than that, right into the most personal parts of your life. So for our second section, let's look at how the state actually polices your very identity. Yep, you heard me right. Even your hairstyle is a state matter. There are only 28 state-approved hairstyles to choose from, 10 for men and 18 for women. If you go to a salon, those are your only options. And on top of that, there are social rules. Married women are strongly encouraged to keep their hair short, while single women are allowed to wear it a bit longer. And it's not just your hair, it's your clothes too. They're seen as a front line in a war against cultural contamination from the West. Blue jeans were banned decades ago for being a symbol of America. And you can see how the rules just keep evolving. In 2021, the ban expanded to include skinny jeans and piercings. Then, in 2023, women were prohibited from wearing shorts. It's all done in the name of upholding traditional values. Think about this for a second. Even your name isn't entirely your own. It is illegal for any citizen to share a name with anyone in the ruling Kim family. Those names are reserved for what they call the highest dignity. And this isn't some old, forgotten rule. Just in 2023, there were reports of citizens named Ji being ordered to change their names right around the time reports surfaced about one of Kim Jong-un's children. And the list of personal restrictions just keeps going. It's pretty wild. In 2020, owning pet dogs was banned in the capital, called a tainted trend of capitalist ideology. If a family has triplets, the state might actually take custody of them because they're seen as a special symbol of national prosperity. And, of course, all media, every book, every song, every movie has to be approved by the state. Any foreign media is completely illegal, and getting caught with it means severe punishment. Okay, so the state controls what you look like, what you name your kids, and what you consume. Our third section explores how it also controls your time and even where you can physically go. So what's with the number 11? What do you think that represents? This was the number of days in the mandatory mourning period for the 10th anniversary of Kim Jong-il's death, and during that time, your personal emotions were officially put on hold by the government. For those 11 straight days, it was literally illegal to show any kind of joy. That meant no laughing, no drinking alcohol, And no celebrating birthdays or anything like that. You couldn't even do your grocery shopping on certain days. The entire country was legally required to be somber, and anyone who was caught violating the mood was arrested as a political criminal. And your ability to just move around, yeah, that's just as tightly controlled. That Songbun system we talked about dictates where you live and work. If you want to travel outside your assigned city, you need official government permission. Even something as simple as riding a bicycle has been regulated. They were once banned in the capital, and women can still get fined for riding them in some cities. And as for leaving the country, the borders are some of the most heavily fortified in the world, with fences, landmines, and a shoot-on-sight order for anyone who tries to cross. So, we've seen the rules, the bizarre, the intrusive, the total control. For our final section, we have to ask the most important question. What happens when you break them? What is the real price of dissent? And here we are, right back where we started, the 3 generations of punishment. Just to be clear, for a serious political crime, it's not just the offender who is punished. Their entire bloodline is considered tainted. Their children and grandchildren can be born into a political prison camp, paying for something they never ever did. It's the ultimate psychological tool for making sure no one even thinks about stepping out of line. And just in case you thought you could get away with anything, the state's ability to watch you is only getting stronger and more advanced. Sources point to a massive recent expansion of surveillance. Thanks to new technology, domestic monitoring is up significantly, and overseas observation is set to double. Citizens have to live with the constant knowledge that their homes could be wiretapped and that their neighbors are actively encouraged to be informants. The final piece of this control puzzle? It's information. The overwhelming majority of citizens have absolutely no access to the global internet that you and I use every day. Instead, they can use a heavily censored, state-controlled intranet. Full, unfiltered access to the World Wide Web is a privilege reserved for just a tiny handful of the absolute top government officials. So after looking at all of this, we're left with a really sobering question. This entire system is designed for total control, not just of what people do, but of who they are. So when every single choice is made for you, from your haircut to your home, from your thoughts to your feelings, who are you really? It's a pretty chilling thought to end on.